This is like our first time meeting.
Yeah.
Nico,
yeah.
What's up, buddy?
Good to meet you.
Thanks for coming on the podcast.
Absolutely.
This Thursday, today, as we're releasing this, Nico, it's Monday. So this Thursday, we have the Ted Jones Comedy Show Pride Edition at the Moxie Lower East Side. I'm pumped. Are you pumped, Nico?
Yeah, it's going to be great. I'm stoked.
You're from Georgia, correct?
Yeah, I'm from Savannah.
And then how long have you been in Brooklyn?
I moved to New York like 2 years ago. A little over 2 years ago.
Oh, yeah. And you were in Georgia just like for your whole life up until 2 years ago?
I grew up there, and then I went to school in North Carolina. I went to Wake Forest University.
Okay. I actually had a couple of friends who went there. I had a few friends who went to school in North Carolina in general.
Yeah.
University of North Carolina.
Yeah.
Duke, Wake Forest. What did you do at Wake Forest?
I played soccer there, which is how I ended up there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because you played college
Yeah,
tennis?
I played college tennis at UConn.
Yeah. Oh, word. Okay, very cool. Very
man.
cool. Yeah, I played. That's how I ended up there. I just played soccer there, but I studied English. Just kind of did what I could.
Were you just like always into soccer your whole life or what?
Yeah. Growing up, I started playing when I was like 5 and just loved it, stuck with it, and thankfully my parents were like into taking me all over the Southeast to play.
Were you like travel soccer too?
Yeah. Big time travel soccer was like my whole childhood.
So you were recruited all over the place.
Yeah.
Did you know Freddie Adu, or how old are you?
I knew of Freddie Adu, but we were like not in the same like age level.
Isn't it's crazy though that like he had such a promising career trajectory, and I feel like just fell off.
Yeah, I listen to a lot of soccer podcasts now, and and there's been a couple times they mostly feature like the Premier League in England, and they're British guys, but every once in a while they'll talk about like American players that play over there now, and they're like, I hope he's not another Freddie Adu. It's like,
is he still playing?
I don't know. I honestly have no idea.
It's crazy.
There's there's a big problem in soccer with kidding kids when they're like 15 and like being like, oh, this is like the next guy, protege, or next woman, whatever. And then like they're just, it's too young. It's like you're not even physically, especially for men, you're not even physically peaked at that point. So.
I was watching like a little mini documentary on YouTube about Ryan Sheckler, and it was kind of like the same situation.
Yeah.
I feel like 10, 15 years ago, we were picking up prodigies a little bit too early, like offering kids scholarships when they were like 13 to 14 years old, and then essentially they like wouldn't make it to the big leagues or whatever it was.
Yeah, it's huge in women's soccer. I mean, they'll like big schools will recruit like eighth graders, ninth graders. It's like verbal commit, as you know, but still it's like. So you
played women's soccer at Wake Forest.
Yeah.
Okay, so when did you transition?
I transitioned.
Cool talking about that.
Yeah, like 2 years ago. So around the same time I moved here. So my soccer career all predates all that. So it was women's soccer.
Were you thinking about going pro in soccer? Like, did you have the ability to go pro in female soccer?
I maybe could have gone like overseas and played in like, because they just have more leagues over there. They like really have the one NWSL in the US, which is I wasn't good enough for that. But I have a couple like really close friends that are still playing, which is cool. Like
in the US?
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
wow.
So it's fun to like keep up with them and like watch them play.
How is the salary in Major League Soccer just for men and women? Like I don't imagine you guys are making so much money, right?
It's gotten better. The MLS, I think for the men, the least they'll make is like 50.
So it's like the league minimum.
Yeah,
for the pros.
Yeah, and then for the women, it's gotten better. I think it's like 40 or 50 now too. But it used to be like 12K or something. It's bad.
That reminds me of just like the minor leagues in tennis. Now when you look and you watch like the Grand Slams, the US Open, Australian Open, Wimbledon, or French Open, all the prize money is the same, but it's just when you start going into the lower tier tournaments where the prize money can just be all over the place. So like that's a step forward in having the same prize money. Even though that people say that men are playing more hours throughout the tournament, but I feel like we should just make it the same. I mean, I don't know how much you follow tennis, but I feel like we should just make it the same scoring. It should be 2 out of 3 for everyone or 3 out of 5 sets for everyone.
Oh, it's different. I didn't know that.
It is different. So women are on court an average of like an hour and 30 to 2 hours throughout the whole tournament, and then men are on court for like 3 to 3.5 hours. During the Grand Slam.
So they play more sets on the men's side. So that's interesting.
Yeah, so men's play 3 out of 5 sets. They need to win 3 sets, and the women only need to win 2 sets.
That's crazy.
So it's a little much in the men's game.
Yeah,
especially just like with the amount of hours they're on the court.
Yeah, because I don't think there's any like basketball same amount of time on the court, right?
Yeah, well, I think women in WNBA play like a little bit less time.
Yeah.
But I don't know. What do you think is more physical, soccer or tennis? Did you know anyone on the tennis team at Wake Forest?
Yeah, I knew a couple guys.
Really good.
Yeah, this guy Petros was really good. I forget his last name.
A kid who I grew up with, Noah Rubin. You know that name?
Yes.
He won the national championship.
He was huge. Yeah,
so I was 15 and he was 12, and I beat him in a match. It was dope. He was playing in the 16th. Dude, he was like 5'2".
He was like prodigy.
I was like 6 feet, and I was just kicking serves over his head. It was dope. So that was like probably the biggest win of my career. But
claim to fame.
Yeah, yeah. So he's doing well right now. He has like a podcast behind the net, I think it's called, like that, or behind the racket.
Oh, cool.
That's what it's called. So he's still doing a lot of tennis related stuff.
That's great.
But the facilities at Wake Forest are sick.
Yeah, super nice, super nice. And they like redid a bunch of the athletic facilities when I was like a junior, so we got really nice stuff for like my like second 2 years there.
Did you want to go to another Division I program, or was Wake Forest kind of like the number one choice?
I looked at a couple places, Virginia Tech, Duke, some other.
Damn, so you were sick.
I was okay. I was gonna be like a mid-tier player at any of those schools, but I was like good enough to like probably get to one of them. But I was not gonna be like, I could have gone somewhere smaller and been like the best player, but I'm glad that I went somewhere where I was like able to be like more of a contributor, and now I'm friends with professionals. Like I liked it better, and then have nicer stuff and like be at a bigger school. I was like more drawn to that than like, it's like I don't need to be the best.
That was like me going to UConn. The main reason I went to UConn was because the basketball program was so good. Like the tennis program was not good at all. So we got like all the sick gear. We got like the jerseys, the pants, the rackets, the whole nine.
Yeah.
That was like one of the reasons I wanted to go to a big school.
Yeah, you get like just an insane amount of gear.
Yeah. It's amazing. Do you play all 4 years?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So did you have any thoughts in your mind though about going pro, or like what was the mindset behind, because playing college anything is a lot on your body and then on your mind, and then having to balance academics too.
Yeah, it was definitely like when I was like in like, I guess when I was a freshman, I was going in, I was like, oh, maybe by the end of this I'll be good enough and I'll do it. But you know, as time went on, it became clearer to me that was like not going to be my trajectory. Probably after like a year and a half there, I was like, that's not going to be for me. Like I'm not good enough. But I also started, I joined our like college sketch comedy group when I was in my junior year. And then I was like, oh, this is actually what I like to do.
But you had time to do that, even being on the team?
Hardly. Yeah. I was juggling a lot, and I missed a lot of that kind of, like I missed a lot of the sketch stuff because I obviously had to take, you know, priority with soccer. That was my primary commitment, but I was able to do enough of both, and I really enjoyed it. And I was like, well, this is what I like. So I was kind of like, that's where I'm going to try instead. Something probably just as hard of a career path.
Yeah, definitely. I was on the tennis team for 2.5 years. And then once I stopped playing, it allowed me to take these acting and drama classes, because they were mostly in the night at UConn, and like during the time when we would have 2-hour practice, or we'd have fitness. So it was really an opportunity where I just completely transitioned into wanting to, you know, pursue comedy, acting, whatever it was, improv. Did you do any improv?
No, never did improv.
Going from, I guess, Wake Forest, and then did you go back to Georgia and then back to New York? How did that that start?
I got a job at a school working at a law firm. I was a paralegal for a horrible job. Anybody who wants to do it, don't.
What was it? What was that? Some form of English major?
Yeah, I was an English major. I was an English major, and I was just like
reading and writing a lot.
Yeah, and I was like, I want to go to New York. I want to be able to like pursue comedy, and I was like, I just need to get a job to get up there. So I took this job at a law firm, and I graduated in 2019. So I was there for like not even 6 months, and then COVID hit, and then I went back home to my parents' house in Savannah and just like worked from home for like 2 years almost, and then moved back up here and was like, try again, and quit that job. And now I coach little kids in soccer, and it's much better.
Dope.
Yeah.
What made you want to get into comedy? What was like, was there a spark?
I always, like my parents were really good about like showing me like SNL and like comedians they liked when I was growing up. So I remember I would watch like SNL clips on Sunday morning and just like memorize all of Kristen Wiig's like sketches and stuff, and just like insistently say it over and over again to whoever would listen. And so I was just really into it as a kid, and then, you know, kind of got more into soccer and got more serious about that, and then like kind of had a renaissance of like realizing I really liked it again. When I saw that sketch group perform in college, I was like, oh, this is amazing. Like, I can't believe people are actually doing this. Like, that's so cool. And then just kind of like sparked it in me to be like, that's what I want to do. And then we had an open mic night at like which was my first time doing stand-up, was at this open mic at like a coffee shop on campus. And I was like, well, this is what I really like. Like, this is fun. I like being up here by myself, just saying whatever I want to say.
Were there a ton of people at that open mic?
Yeah, it was pretty fun. It was like a nice, like big, you know, they got, you know, plenty of students to come in and fill it. And like, that's the friendliest audience in the world, because they like want you to
like
succeed.
Your friends there too.
Yeah. So, and you can just kind of like fuck with them, and they love that. So it's not like real I'm sure what I was saying was horrible.
Well, it's good enough to give you confidence to keep you going, right?
Yeah. So,
what was it like growing up in Savannah, Georgia? Was it like a city environment at all, or how did that look?
It's pretty small. It's got Savannah College of Art and Design is down there. So SCAD, yeah, okay. Which is cool.
I went to professional children's school, which is a performing arts here in New York.
Oh, cool.
So there were like 4 kids from my graduating class that went to Savannah College in art and design.
Cool. Yeah, very cool. It's really cool. I mean, I think the school was like started in like the 80s or so. So it's kind of like been slowly transforming the city because it's a very like old southern town, but like slowly but surely has gotten this like artistic wave that's come through that's really kind of revitalized it. So, thank you. Yeah, it's been much. So like over my 20 years living there, it got like much cooler than it was when we first moved there. I was like, because I wasn't born there. I was born in Syracuse, New York, but we moved down there when I was like 8. And even as an 8-year-old, I was like, this place is crazy. Like, I don't know what's going on around here, but it slowly but surely got much cooler.
My grandpa lives in DeWitt. Yeah. Which is up near Syracuse.
That's where I'm from.
And then my sister went to Syracuse. So we were up in Syracuse visiting my grandpa like 6 weeks ago.
Oh, cool. Yeah, no, I was born in DeWitt. That's where I'm from.
Super nice up there, like lush-wise, but like kind of in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
No offense.
Yeah, and it's only lush for like 3 months.
Yeah, and then it's just freezing the other time. There's just cold. Foxes everywhere.
Yeah. No, that's why my parents left. They were like, we can't do this. We can't do this.
What brought them down to Savannah?
Just my dad got a new job, and they were like, we need to get somewhere warm. We've been here for 30 years. We can't do it.
Do you have brothers and sisters too?
Yeah, I got 2 little sisters and a younger brother.
And they're still living in Savannah?
No, well, so they're all graduated now. One lives here in the city. She's the one under me, and then under her, she goes to school in Atlanta, and then my brother just graduated, and he's going to school in Athens, Georgia.
What's it been like in the big city for you?
It's been good. I really like it. It's been, I mean, I think this is the place I'm meant to be, and so that's been very cool. Yeah.
So just like waking up in the morning and you're cool with all the sirens, all the noise on the street.
Yeah. I'm in Brooklyn, so it's not quite as hectic as it is over here in Manhattan. But like, I mean, I love I don't know. I was away for on vacations and stuff. I've gone out of the city obviously in the last 2 years, and but then every time I come back, I'm like, this feels right. Like this wavelength is like what I'm at, and I think I like it much better than quiet.
It seems like your career is moving at a pretty quick pace since you moved to New York City. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, it is. I've been very lucky. I've gotten a lot of cool opportunities, and that's been lucky and fun. And it's definitely like a lot quickly, but it's been really cool.
Any like downs in the New York comedy game where you've felt like, oh, maybe I have to go home for a little bit, or I want to go back home, or homesickness?
I haven't really felt homesick. I mean, I think everybody gets like the pretty natural, like, you get yourself in a point where you're like comparing yourself to other people or trying to like track. I think we all like lack a structure to what a career trajectory in this industry looks like. Yeah. So I think it's kind of natural to look for influence from other people, or like, how did somebody else do this, or how did somebody else get that? But then you can get yourself into that like comparison game, which is, a losing battle every time. So I try not to do that. But we will have months where you're on a lot of shows and you're not, and then you're on a lot of shows and you're not. So getting used to like kind of riding that wave has been a bit of an adjustment, but it's been, I mean, I couldn't imagine myself anywhere else. I love it here.
But it also just seems like coming from a small town in Georgia and then coming to New York and getting so many opportunities, like this is the place where you're supposed to be. You didn't go from like Savannah to maybe Atlanta and then to LA and then to New York. It's just like you ran straight to New York.
Yeah, I never really had any. I've never been out west, so I was like, I didn't even really feel like LA was like an option because I've never been there. Like I at least visited New York, so I like knew what I was like, where I was going. I'd seen it, but I'd never been to LA before, like living here already. So I was like, I had no thought about even going out there. So I was like, I don't know anybody out there. Yeah, it's like so far from home.
Did you come here with your family at all?
Yeah, we visited a couple times.
Like seeing Broadway plays and stuff?
Yeah, when I was like a little kid. And pretty much just stayed in like Times Square area. Like, didn't do anything fun,
Did you see The Lion King?
We saw Wicked when I was
I need to see Wicked. Everyone's been talking about it. And it's been on Broadway for like 20 years.
It's great. It's really good.
I need to see Aladdin. You see Aladdin?
I've heard it's good. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, dude, I need to see that.
I've seen Wicked. I've seen Book of Mormon, which is excellent.
I gotta see that one too.
Yeah, that's a really funny one. Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about how you've adjusted to New York and how you're treated in the industry. Do you feel like being in New York, you're more accepted, identifying as a male, as opposed to being in Savannah, Georgia, and identifying as a male? So how's that been for you?
Yeah, I wasn't out in Savannah, so I was out as queer. So I was doing comedy in Savannah for like a very brief amount of time before I moved up here. And surprisingly, like I was a little nervous about that, like how it was gonna go, but it actually was pretty nice. Like the scene there is like very welcoming and like.
Was it also like a lot of open mics there that a lot of people in the town would show up to, or was it like legit shows?
Yeah, it was. They have 4 open mics a week, and it's at these little bars, and there's like usually like some people that are just patrons of the bar who, you know, surprise, it's an open mic, so they're like there to watch. But it's like the same like 15 folks who are doing, you know, they're like a lot of MCs,
same comedians.
Yeah. And a couple SCAD students, so that's always cool. Actually, one of my best friends now in the city, she went to SCAD, and we met in Savannah, and then she just happened to move up here too. So now we're like the best friends. My friend Jesse, but anyway, so I don't have a lot of like, I can't compare to how it would be to be like a trans comic there because I didn't do it there, but it's been great here. I mean, it's been really cool. I think one of the things that I've loved about being up here, why it feels so much like home, is like there's so many queer comedians and like queer people that are always around and doing stuff. So it feels like, you know, in Savannah, I was talking about stuff that nobody else was talking about, whereas here it's like, oh, I talk about this stuff on stage. People in the audience get it. Other comics are also talking about this kind of stuff. It feels like I'm not the odd one out all the time. And that's been really cool to like, I don't know, just be around people who want to be talking about, you know, trans people and their life experience, and like people who, even if they don't experience it, are like open to hearing about it. And that's been really cool. Like
the audience members want to hear more about diversity.
Yeah. I feel like they definitely, or at least are like, aware of like, you know, if you're not throwing at terms at them that they've never heard before. You know what I mean?
What? Like, how do you mean?
Like if I use the word like trans versus cis to, you know, how somebody might identify, like, you know, with the gender.
Can you explain the difference?
Yeah. So like trans is if you're born assigned one gender at birth and then you transition. If you're cis, you identify as the gender you were born assigned at birth. But you know, the shorthand is for that is just cis or cisgender. And like sometimes you throw that out to an audience and they're like, no idea.
Right.
Yeah. But like, you know, here it seems like, you know, people generally are like pretty on the ball with that kind of stuff because they're just used to hearing it because they're in a major metropolitan area.
When you start to go on the road, do you think like your material would need to change as if it were in New York, or how do you feel about that?
I don't know. I think it kind of depends. Like, I mean, there's a lot of comics now who have done a really great job of like, you know, getting a big online presence and, you know, using, you know, social media platforms to get their clips out. And I think they are able to like reach the people who are interested in their stuff. So then when they go to sell out tours, it's the people that want to come see them and already understand that kind of stuff, which is a cool. I think that's like one of the helpful parts of social media is like maybe I'll be able to reach like all the queer people that live in Wisconsin, and then I can go to Wisconsin versus like if I just do like a tour that's maybe not, you know, kind of just like booking out clubs and just hoping whoever comes, then we'll see. I think my material generally is pretty, I've tried to make it so that people who aren't on the in-group would understand what I'm talking about as long as they're open to hearing it. I think, you know, it's not like inaccessible in that way, but definitely it's like a learning curve.
I saw you perform at Ray's probably like, I don't know, 6 or 8 months ago or something. And I just remember hearing your material and thinking like, just learning stuff while I was listening to you, and like also just feeling so included and not uncomfortable. Like people would think that maybe if they saw something that they weren't comfortable with, that they automatically wouldn't get. But your material just like makes everybody feel inclusive.
Oh, thank you. Like. Yeah, that was a fun show. That's Flora's show when she did that.
Yeah. So that was like probably 6 to 8 months ago.
Yeah.
Something like that in the little basement.
That bar is the one that cousin Greg from Succession owns.
Yeah.
And it was like every girl in that audience was like hoping he'd be there. It was like the vibe of that show. Yeah.
One of my buddies is a regular, so he's always upstairs playing pool at that table. So I'll go down there sometimes.
Oh, that's awesome.
And hang out with him.
Yeah.
But that's funny. What's been your best moment in comedy so far, being here for 2 years? And then what was it like coming here, I guess, right after COVID? Where were you during COVID? What was the train? Like, did you think that the world was shutting down? Let's go from March 2020 until, I guess, now, comedy-wise.
March 2020, I wasn't really doing comedy yet. I was working at that law firm, kind of like not knowing what to do, wanting to get into comedy, but having no idea how to do so, or like, and just was way too busy at that stupid job.
Well, were you doing sketches at all?
No, I wasn't doing anything. I was just working and like just kind of fucking around and like saying, oh, I want to do comedy, but not actually doing it, you know? Like I was still in that phase of being very like juvenile and being like, maybe this will like fall into my lap, you know, not knowing how to like actually go out and
were you always the funny person in your friend group though?
Yeah. I was always like the, you know, my team's like kind of class clown character and always like making people laugh. So it's something that's always been like interesting to me, but in terms of like the industry of it, I had no idea how to like start. And so March 2020, moved back to my parents' house in Savannah, Georgia, worked from home from there, and was just kind of like everybody, just like reading and hanging out with my parents and binge watching Schitt's Creek with my mom, and like just like that kind of stuff, you know, making new fun cocktails, like doing
Tiger King.
Yes, we did watch that. We did watch Tiger King. We loved that one. Yeah, that was like the last like, I feel like that's like one of the only like monoculture, like must see TV. Like everybody seemed to be watching that. I know. At the same time.
I think it's because of the COVID thing too.
No,
it
for
must
sure,
have been.
for sure. Yeah,
I do miss that though. I miss that story. I
like,
wonder if she killed him.
Timing.
If she killed her husband. Don't mean to spoil it for you guys,
for
but
sure.
if you haven't watched it,
Tiger King,
Carol Baskin killed him.
Yeah, for sure.
Killed her husband, whacked him. Right?
That was amazing. That was amazing. Yeah. So we watched that, but anyway, so was there for a while, and then like kind of on the tail end of that, there I was like, I want to start doing stand up. I'm going to see if there's any open mics in Savannah. I just kind of looked on Facebook, and they had like a bunch of stuff outdoors, and there was no restrictions in Savannah at the time because they like hardly took COVID seriously. So there was plenty of open mics, and I was like, all right, I'm going to go check these out, and just started doing them. And I was doing nothing else at my parents' house. So I was like, this is the only thing to focus on right now. So I just started doing it, and, you know, got better rather quickly. And then I was like, all right, I think I want to go back up to New York now that I know how to like
What do you mean go back up to New York though?
Because I was up here briefly. But
for a job?
For my job. Yeah, for my job. So then I was like, all right, I'm moving back, but this time I'm going to actually try to pursue comedies. And then I moved back up here. And then once I got vaccinated, I just started doing open mics here through like Facebook pages and stuff, and started meeting people, and then just kept meeting people and getting booked on shows and doing my thing. And then just, you know, now just doing shows here in the city, you know, as regularly as I can. So.
Did you meet a roommate on Craigslist? How did you find, or did you live alone up here?
I met a roommate through a friend of a friend from college.
Okay.
Yeah. So just kind of pseudo random, but he's the best. It worked out really nicely.
It seems like I saw that you're performing 30 minutes pretty soon. When are you doing that?
Yeah, on June 27th at Littlefield. If anybody watching wants to come check it out.
You had to for 30 minutes pretty fast.
Yeah. I did. My writing partner and like co-producer who I run my show with, Connor Janda, he's doing half hour as well. We did it for the first time in October, and it was cool. I was like, I don't know. It was kind of like you never get that much stage time, so it was like daunting to like figure out like the pacing of. But I've done a bunch of college shows now, so I've had to do like an hour like several times. So I'm feeling a lot better about being on stage for a long time.
What's that been like since you're kind of around the same age as those seniors and juniors, right?
Yeah, so I'm 25, so I was like, you know, you think when you're in college, you're like, I was an adult, like I was whatever, and then you go back and you see these kids, and they're kids.
Yeah,
like,
drinking Four Locos in the stand.
Yeah, some of them seem like, you know, a little bit more adult and a little bit, and like, oh, if they say you're a senior, like, oh, yeah, you seem ready to go out into the world. But some of them are like, you are still like a kid. Like this which is interesting because then their sensibility is a little bit strange. Like they definitely are more interested in like a little bit more like kind of lowball or like lowbrow comedy, like more like sex jokes and like drugs jokes and like things like any reference to that they eat up. But anything that's a little bit more like highbrow, they're like, I don't get it, right over their heads. So yeah, but it was cool. I like doing the college shows.
What colleges?
I did a bunch in the Northeast. I did like a couple in Maine, couple in Massachusetts, Rhode Island, New Hampshire, a couple, just different spots. I did like the NACA showcase. Yeah.
Nice. What do you think your comedy long-term goals are? Just building up to that hour and then releasing it on some platform or however that may be, maybe YouTube? Yeah,
it would be cool. I would love to do an hour. I'm still like, I don't know. I'm wanting to get, right now I just want to keep trying to get better at writing jokes because I've seen how much I've been able to grow in the last like 2 years, and that just is making me optimistic that I will be able to like exponentially grow, you know, over the next like, 5-10 years. So I'm definitely not like pressed to like get something out right now. I just want to keep building on it and start touring. I would love to see like how the material does like outside of New York and like, and go to other places and see other people and get to expand, a fan base before I'd want to like put something out. Cause I don't have much of I have like a decent following, but nothing like crazy. So I would love to be able to like expand that before I'm ready to like put anything out. Cause I that's the other thing about like putting stand-up clips up. I've been very like precious about that for so long, and I finally started putting some stuff out, but I just like, I don't know how you feel about this, but like you write something and it feels like this is so important and this is like a thing I made, and I'm just gonna throw it on the internet and hope people like it and like hope it. Well, I don't know. Now it's not like sacred anymore. It's not like, it's like something people have seen.
Well, do you feel like once you post it, you can never say it again? Is that like the kind of feeling you get?
Not necessarily. I think there was part of me that felt that way before, but then it's like, fuck, nobody in this audience has seen your clip. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's not like,
or it's just a very small percentage. It's
30 seconds, right? Yeah. So it's like, it's not ever gonna be like, so I don't feel that tied to it anymore. But there was a time where I was like, I don't know if I feel it, whatever. whatever, and just being kind of like too in my head about it. But
isn't that so interesting how different it is between music and comedy?
Yeah.
You know, like you go to a concert, everybody's singing every word to every song and they love it.
Yeah.
But then if you go to a comedy show and you hear a joke that like you saw the comic
You're
before,
pissed.
dude, you're pissed. It's just fucked up for us comics, you know?
I know. I wish you could like get up and play the hits. It's like,
yeah, that's something like live comedy. I feel like people would love to see on TV, but it makes comedians more nervous.
Yeah.
They don't want to go to a show and then a person in the crowd half the crowd has heard their material before, you know?
Yeah. I heard something that like Nate Bargatze one time did an encore and people were like, do this bit or do that. Like fans were like wanting him to do his old stuff. So maybe if you get to that level, people are like really wanting to see their favorites.
And I think in that situation, I think it's more story based. You know, like if you have a 2 or 3 minute story, people want to hear that story, but people might not want to hear like that 10-second joke where, exactly. Cause then it gets a little bit boring.
Yeah.
What's been dating life for you?
Dating's good. I have a girlfriend. Okay. We've been dating for like a year and a half. She's wonderful. She's a comic as well. We met doing like open mics like a year and a half ago.
And she's from New York?
She's from Boston. Yeah.
Nice. You ever spend any time up in Boston?
Yeah, we went up and visited her folks like I don't know, like last August. It was lovely. Got a lobster roll for the first time. It was
Let's
great.
go.
It was great. Yeah.
Lather it in butter.
Yeah, big time.
Have your parents been super supportive of your transition?
Yeah, they're great. I have very good parents and siblings and everybody. They've been nothing but supportive about it, which is great. I feel very lucky.
And also your career choice, your career path?
Yeah,
that's unreal, dude. That's great.
They have more traditional, I mean, they're both doctors, they're both physicians, and they kind of like hate. I mean, I think they like a lot of the aspects of their job, but they also feel, I think at times they want us kids to like go do something else. And
interesting.
I was lucky because when I was in Savannah, I was like doing my first couple open mics, and they would come watch. My parents were very supportive. They would come watch with me and like, you know, support, because like who else was gonna come, I guess. And I think it was helpful that they got to see like not only that I was decent at it, but that I like really cared about it and worked really hard on it, and would get up before work and write jokes and like go and then go out at night and do these jokes after like working a full, 9 to 5 job. I think they were like, okay, he takes it seriously. Yeah. He's treating it like a real job. He's good enough at it that we see like he might be able to do this. Like, well, go, why not? Go do it.
My parents are super supportive of my comedy too. And it's interesting because your grandparents were probably on your parents to get a job, like being a doctor or a lawyer. And now it's just changed so much. Like being a doctor or a lawyer, it's just, you have to put in all of these hours and hours. And then by the time you're a doctor or you're a lawyer, you're 35 years old. And potentially you could be successful in comedy by that time.
Yeah.
You put in those 15 years of work.
And no loans and like,
oh my
graduate
gosh,
schools
dude.
and stuff.
Yeah. People didn't think about that back then because of the world wars and shit like that. You know what I mean?
No time to think about loans.
Have you seen Jury Duty on Amazon yet?
I fucking love that show.
Dude,
it's great.
I was crying at that show.
Yeah, it's so funny.
Amazing writing, so funny. For those of you who haven't seen it,
you gotta watch it.
Yeah, you have to see it. I can't even do it justice describing it, but it's one guy who thinks he's in jury duty, and then there's like 50 actors around him just doing everything in their power to make everything seem ridiculous whilst keeping it like a little bit normal. Yeah,
I liked it a lot because sometimes reality like shows, like those kind of prank-ish shows, can be a little bit ethically ambiguous to me.
Yeah.
Like the Nathan For You, I wasn't sure how I felt about that. It was got a little bit like...
Well, do you mean rehearsal or in general?
Rehearsal, yeah. The old Nathan For You is a little bit different, but the rehearsal I thought got a little bit, I don't know, just got a little dark at times where I was like, I'm not sure. Obviously, like the end with the kid was a little bit like, I'm not sure how to feel about that. But even like the first one he did with the guy with the trivia who like stormed out and was like, you fucking ruined this for me. I was like, this is this guy's whole life. And now it's been kind of fucked with because he wanted to make a TV show. I don't know, whatever. Is what it is. But
he's a funny guy though.
Yeah, for sure. His but Jury Duty I thought did a great job of like keeping it super light, and they like painted him like this guy came out looking like a fucking star.
It was unreal how much of a star and like how nice of a guy he came
they
out
like
to be.
Picked the perfect guy and they made him look good, and it was great. And so I really enjoyed that it was like, this is something we're not laughing at him at any point.
Yeah.
Like, I never want to feel like we're laughing at somebody. That doesn't feel right. But like when it's like, you can see him kind of being like, this is weird. Like, it was great. It was and he did a great job. It was so fun.
And I heard behind the scenes, when it got a little bit too weird, they just had to chill in the courtroom for like 6 hours at a time. They were like, all right, it's getting too weird. Everybody just calm down. Don't do anything for 6 hours. I am in the middle of watching Captain Phillips. You ever seen that?
No.
With Tom Hanks?
No.
And I'm like 40 minutes in. Seems interesting. We'll see. I haven't really been a movie guy, but I went to Air, the Michael Jordan movie, by myself. I saw a movie in the theater recently, so I was like, all right, maybe I'll get back on my movie grind.
Is that the one where they are talking about making a shoe?
Yes.
And who's so many big? Is that Ben Affleck and
Ben Affleck and Matt Damon?
Oh, cool.
It's great.
It's
you
good?
should see it if you're interested. If you're
I want
into
to see
that
it.
kind of stuff.
I love those two. So
yeah, in North Carolina.
Yeah.
What was let's go back to, I guess, college, because I'm interested in this. What was one of the other schools that you were thinking about going to, or was it Wake Forest the whole time? Let me close this. This is the garbage bin over here.
Wake was definitely the like primary school I liked.
And how far did you guys get in the national tournament?
We went to my junior and senior year. We made it to the Sweet 16 both years.
Were you guys supposed to win, though?
No, we probably weren't supposed to win. I think and I don't think we would have. I don't think we probably would have gone all the way. But I think there was one year we probably could have gone one more round and just got kind of last minute goal and whatever. But yeah, it was always exciting. Like we won some games on PKs every year. And
that's
it was really fun. So yeah, but I looked at a couple different ACC schools. I wanted to stay in like the Southeast where I grew up, and ACC is the best conference for soccer.
Yeah.
So I wanted to do that. And
UConn was pretty good at soccer too, right?
Yeah, they're good.
The men's team, I think we won the national championship one year that I was there.
Yeah, both men's and women's are pretty good at UConn. Yeah, and obviously both basketball teams are excellent. Women's basketball, fucking dynasty there.
Yeah, insane. Yeah. How do you feel about the Brittany Griner situation? We could talk about that.
That's that's pretty tough. I mean, it's disheartening to know that like American citizens are going to be stranded like that, and it sucks that she even had to go over there in the first place to not make enough money to she's one of the best players in the WNBA, and she has to go overseas to play. It's ridiculous.
It is crazy,
and it just sucks that it like lingered on for so long and that she wasn't getting any help, because it just it shouldn't be that way. And I saw a lot of people making comments online like, if this was LeBron, he's back yesterday. Like it's not like he's gonna get stranded over there. So just sucks that it seems like there's a bit of a double standard for who's gonna get helped. But
would you think that there would be a better way for female athletes to be paid?
Yeah, I don't know enough about like the way that the behind the scenes like the money works for them, but I kind of thought that the WNBA was like an arm of the NBA to kind of help fund and while they're still growing as a league, to be able to like help make sure that players are getting paid adequately. But it also seems like nowadays, I mean, like the games are getting like pretty good attendance, and they're able to like kind of sustain themselves much better than they used to be.
That's true.
So
that's true. I think women's sports in general. I mean, when you watch women's tennis, like in women's college tennis, like it's honestly an impressive sport.
Yeah.
If you compare it to other types of women's sports, maybe it's not as well attended, but women's volleyball in college is a super attended well. And then like now that college athletes can get paid, I think it's going to be interesting because we'll start to see more male and female athletes on TikTok and Instagram, maybe doing like product sales, something like that. So I don't know, would that have been an option for you or your team where you guys can like, I don't know, freaking do dances on TikTok and make money for it? Like, dude, make money from TikTok?
I wish. I kind of just missed that boat. I was
know what I mean?
I was probably like 2 years out of school when they started all that. So like, I just missed that. I wish. I always wanted to be, they started doing some more like social media stuff. They like totally upped our social media platforms. Like after I left, like they hired some real people to come like do
I'm seeing that now, like on my reels, like legit music and like lacrosse and shit.
We had a couple like kind of freelance guys. This guy Terrell would come do some awesome videos for us, but he was like kind of freelance working for the school, but they like for all the programs like got much better, and they would do like they would mic some of the players up at like warm up. And
that's so
was
cool.
So mad that I missed that because I would have loved to have been mic'd up at practice because I love to like talk shit, and I would have loved to do like to know I was on and perform a little bit. I would have eaten that
Let's
up.
Let's go. Those two girls at Miami, the Cavender girls. Do you know what I'm talking about?
What do they play?
Yeah, there were two girls who played basketball at the University of Miami. They're not playing their senior season, and then they're just, I guess, trying to make money otherwise through other facets of basketball.
Wow.
But pretty cool that like this is starting to happen. People making real money through social media.
Yeah, I mean, it's long overdue for the NCAA. I feel like they've been making a lot of money off of some athletes for a long time who are adults and deserve to be, compensated for the money they're bringing in for these schools.
Where is Mia Hamm these days?
Mia Hamm, they're about to have they're doing this. Are you familiar at all with
female soccer player?
With Wrexham FC. Are you familiar with them?
I've seen that.
So it's the Welsh soccer team.
Wait, is that like Ryan Reynolds?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
You should watch the documentary. It's really good.
Okay.
It's on Hulu. But so they basically like the English soccer system is that they have 5 leagues, and if you are bottom 3 of your league, you get moved down to the lower league. But if you're top 3, you get moved up. So there's like consequences to finishing last, basically. You don't just like suck that year, you get relegated down, or you get promoted if you do well. So they bought a team at the bottom of the league, like the bottom tier, and they're trying to like move them up as far as they can. It's kind of like the project that they're embarking on with this team. They actually just moved up this year, which is exciting. They moved up. Yeah. So anyway, all that to say, they're doing this like charity tournament, 7v7. So there's some Wrexham teams that are coming over, and they're playing some like U.S. women's like stars, like old school stars, so like Mia Hamm and some other like legends. Yeah, some legends are gonna come play in this like 7v7 like fun charity tournament against like some men's teams and some other like, you know, charity event stuff. So she's probably getting ready for that. It was what I imagine. Yeah.
that was like one of the times where I remember in, I guess, U.S. women's, what is it, Olympic history, where I felt like there was a lot of coverage behind that team.
Yeah. They always get like, I mean, that's one of the biggest, like, I mean, of all the American sports teams, the women's soccer team is probably like one of the premier, but yeah, definitely Mia Hamm era was huge. I mean, they won a couple World Cups back to back and Olympics back to back. She was huge for me when I was a kid. I was I had a huge like door length poster of her in my room. Yeah.
With the cardboard cut out.
Yeah.
Do you have any crazy stories from that time?
From like college?
Yeah. Soccer stories or regular stories.
This is not like a me doing well story, but I was on the bench for one of these games, and like my coach would tell me to go warm up, and he was like notorious for like telling people to warm up for like ever. Like it was never just like never like, hey,
big warm up guy.
Warm up, yeah, go warm up and I'll put you in the game in like 5 minutes. So I warm up for the whole second half. Don't go in.
What were you doing though? What's the warm up doing? Like
just running up and down, pretending to stretch, like being like kind of looking over at him, like, hey, you want me to go in yet? Like just kind of like, you know, doing a lot of these little side shuffles, get the arms, even though we don't use those.
Right. You know, that is a funny thing. Soccer players stretching their arms.
So I go for like the whole like second half to warm up, and it doesn't put me out.
Who were you playing?
Virginia Tech. We go to overtime, and so Hokies. They always were really rough. I wouldn't like playing them. But
I would. They seem like a rough.
They were just,
bunch.
And their coach was like this tall guy who just like, he was such a yeller. But like, and my coach yelled plenty, but this guy was like intense, and I wasn't even on his team. I was like, you need to calm down. But anyway, so whole second half warming up, whole first overtime period, I warm up, don't go in. I'm warming up the entire second overtime period. 1 minute left in the game, he calls me over to go. And
so before you get to that punchline here, what do you mean warming up? Are you in like your little jacket still? Like
I'm in the penny. Ready? Well, I got my jersey on, but I've got like the penny on over it and all this stuff. You know, I'm getting ready to go in the game. But he's like, it's been now over 45 minutes of me warming up. It's been a long warm up. I'm like, I'm never, whatever. I'm just
abusive.
Literally, I'm like, all right, whatever. I'm just not going to the game. And then a minute left in the second overtime period, he puts me in, and we have a corner, an attacking corner, and I'm 5'5". I'm not a heading target. Like they're not going to try to get it to me to head the ball in. Like I'm like, why would you put me in get somebody tall go in there? Like why would I go in the game? And you know, and all I do in this game is the ball goes in and we get like counterattack. So all I do is sprint back to try to slide tackle this girl. And it was like the one play I had the whole game. And I was like, I just warmed up for 45 minutes to do sprint across the length of the field. It was ridiculous.
What was the point of that?
No, nothing. I was afterwards, I was like, I wanted to be like, what the fuck, dude?
Do people in soccer redshirt? Like, were there redshirt players on your team?
There were red shirts.
For those of you who don't know what a red shirt is, you come in freshman year, and if you're not going to play the entire season, you could redshirt, and then you basically just repeat your freshman year, correct?
Yeah, and then you get like an extra year of eligibility, which is funny now that like with COVID and stuff, there's like some people that are like doing like their 7th year basically because they had like a redshirt year. Because I think you get 2 red shirts here, don't you?
I don't know. No, I didn't know that.
I thought maybe you could get a medical one. I thought for some reason. Anyway, regardless,
maybe there is a medical one and then also like an actual like playing one. Yeah. I'm not sure. I'll look it up. Pop it up right here.
Yeah. Oh, you do little graphics?
Yeah, we do little pop-ups.
Okay, well, you'll find out now. But now then there's that COVID, like people get a COVID year if they play, if you know their career intersected with when COVID lockdown was. So there's people that are doing like 7th years. It seems like kids
that's crazy.
Like 25-year-olds.
But would you get a full scholarship if you have that red shirt year? How does it work?
I think so, but I don't really know. I guess it probably depends if you're good. If you're good, they're going to give it to you. Yeah.
I think the only time it would make sense to redshirt would be if you think you're legitimately going pro. So if you're playing like top level soccer, you're playing football or I guess a baseball situation, something like that. But I don't know.
Yeah, it seems like the only kids I've ever seen it work out for is like wide receivers who come in like mad scrawny, and they're like, "You're 6'7", you're gonna be great. We just need to put some weight on you, and then you'll be good."
Speaking of putting weight on, do you see anybody on your team do anything illegal substance wise, or was it around like the program?
That wasn't super big, and like honestly, it was kind of the opposite. I remember we had to do like a lot of
drug tests.
We did have to do drug tests. We had to like, the random drug testing. They text you and they're like, come in at 6 a.m., which was always just like annoying. Only a few people ever failed those. It wasn't like a huge deal, but I remember like some of the men's soccer team would like, I don't know what they did at like a Halloween party, but then they had one like a couple days later, and there was kids like
they're just peeing
running sprints with like jackets on to try to sweat it out like the morning before, like just like doing like whatever they could.
Like one time for me, they were testing us, and then like I knew I was gonna test positive for weed, so I just drank an entire gallon of cranberry juice. I was peeing throughout the night.
Yeah.
Next day, woke up, I failed the test. I don't know what I was thinking. Like the cranberry juice is just gonna magically fix it. And I bought one of those detox things online, like that XXX detox your pee. Just chugging it.
You gotta do what you gotta do, and it's like not gonna work.
That's hilarious. You gotta try the garbage bags.
Yeah, it was but
that's so funny.
For like we had like pretty regular like weightlifting schedule with like throughout all 4 years, and we had to do a lot of like trap exercises because they want to like stabilize your neck for heading the ball and like and concussion prevention. So we had to do a bunch of like trap that consistently doing like cleans and stuff like that. Like that was like one of the big exercises we had to do a lot, and every spring there would be like girls on my team who'd be like, we want to go out to these darties now, and I want to wear a tank top, but I have fucking huge traps and I don't want to go out. It was like every year we'd be taking like team photos and like just huge massive traps, and girls would
and like skinny arms though too. They wanted to keep their arms skinny.
Like it was just, I mean, they would be bulky though, because like I mean they're athletic women, so they would just like bulk up, and then it was just like, and they're like, you're like, I can't believe these photos we took. They look so bad. Yeah, next to these frat guys who are like deconditioned. Yeah,
and the girls have larger traps than them.
Yeah.
What was a common injury you saw like on your team?
ACLs are pretty common, and like unfortunately, and I think just generally like in women's sports, like I just don't know if it's the way that like hips and legs are like it's more common in women's than men's soccer. So it's actually kind of like underfunded. You mean
torn ACLs?
I think it has something to do with the way like the angles of your hips and like the knee, and just kind of the way that
the hips are wider.
Yeah, and just kind of generally the way women's bodies develop muscle. I think just kind of like it happens to be that there's more ACL tears. I don't know all the science, but that's kind of like the general, whatever. So it's kind of an underfunded, like there's not a lot of research into ACL prevention, and I think it might be kind of generally sexistly ignored, but ACLs are kind of big, unfortunately.
Just because of how the ACL injury is different in a man and a woman, how it happens?
I think because it's not happening as much in men's sports, it's not as researched. Because I think if men were tearing ACLs at the same rate in like men's soccer, I think it would be like research higher probably.
It just seems that men would get tears in all sorts of different places.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't really know if there's one common injury in men's soccer, but certainly in women's soccer, like ACLs are pretty common.
Did you see any upper body injuries, concussions you mentioned briefly, like tightening your traps?
Some concussions, not too bad. One time, 2 girls on my team hit like heads, and the one had like a huge golf ball after that, but that was kind of
There was a kid on the men's soccer team when I was a freshman. He had like 3 concussions in the first semester.
Oh, geez.
And there was like a period of a week where he legit was in his room. The lights were off. The roommate had to move out. Crazy shit like that, which you otherwise wouldn't think would happen in soccer. Yeah.
It's pretty, I mean, a lot of headers and stuff like that. So like, and it's not really hitting the ball. It's like you run into another person, you bonk heads. That's usually what's worse about it.
Would you say that soccer is a sport that you need to start early if you really want to get to the pros? Because that's really for tennis, that's really what you need to do just in order to get the body motion down. Do you think that soccer is similar?
Yeah, I think because it's like probably similar to tennis. Like, if basketball, football, like you're used to using your hands in other parts of your life, but like you're not really used to using your feet and having like
or an extension like a tennis racket,
right, or like golf or something like that. Like it's just like kind of a totally unnatural motion in terms of like what else you do in life. So I think if you start early, like your foot skills will be much better because you're just going to grow. And like when you're young, that's when you can like actually like internalize. It's like learning a language. Like you internalize it much better then. So like anybody who starts, even if you're really athletic, if you start later, it's kind of hard to pick up.
Did anyone push you to play soccer or play sports?
No, I was pretty into it young. I think like I remember my dad like literally showing me like clips of me at HAMM, and I was like, that is awesome. I want to do that. And then I like signed up for a soccer league, and I played soccer and basketball like all the way through high school. So I played basketball too, but
was there a chance for you to play college basketball, like D3?
Maybe like a small D3 school that really needed somebody, but like because I was athletic, but I wasn't a very good shooter or anything. I was kind of small, so I was a good passer, decent dribbler, but definitely like high school was kind of be my ceiling for that.
How was your college experience though overall?
It was good. I liked college. I mean, it was it's interesting. Like if I went back now, I think I'd probably still do most things the same. Because I wouldn't want to take back that like playing career for anything, but I do wish I'd like done more with comedy stuff in college. Because like I have so many friends now in New York who like were fully doing like writing stuff and doing much more with their time in school and like learning how to like, you know, write scripts and like film things. And like I don't have any of that skill set because I just like didn't study any of that or didn't like, seek it out. So I wish I'd like had a professor that could have like taught me something in like a safe environment to fail and to try and like not feel like I'm learning this all for the first time now, like on my own without any supervision or guidance from anybody other than like peers who can, or like I also tried to write a script, you know?
Do you ever watch YouTube or try and figure out how to do things like maybe that you would have learned in college?
Yeah. I like YouTube, Reddit, other places where anybody can give information. You're like, that seems right.
Yeah. Do your friends who were in those classes though, do they feel like it was a experience worth whatever it was, $70,000 a year? Because it's getting different. You see that you can literally learn anything on YouTube, and I'm sure like your generation being just a couple years out of college, you're starting to see that there's a lot of information for free online.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, there's most kids I know that like went to like NYU or something who
fresh 80K a year.
Yeah, a lot of them don't really seem to think that like their you know degree in screenwriting is like, you know, getting them miles ahead in the industry now.
You don't think so?
Like, I don't really think so. I mean, I think it kind of depends. I think the connections are probably worth the money,
like networking,
and like the, you know, having done stuff before, so feeling comfortable on a set, or like knowing like all the people you would need to contact if you wanted to film something yourself. Like I don't even like, okay, what's a first AD? I don't even really know. You know, like that kind of stuff. But I don't think like a lot of the people I've talked to are like, oh, I actually wish I studied like history or something, like not just like screenwriting, because I didn't
really
like, learn,
history
or just like anything like something more humanities or like just anything else, because they're like, well, because now this is what I'm going to try to do forever. I wish I'd studied something else for 4 years.
Interesting.
You know?
Do you play soccer now?
Yeah, I play a bunch. I play a bunch of like pickup. There's this app called Street FC that's like they do these like basically they just like have like a bunch of like street courts that's 5v5. So it's like
where like McCarran Park type.
Sometimes it's on like hard surface, so it's like on like a basketball court. So it's like it's kind of like futsal, which is like it's kind of like indoor. Yeah. So
you doing slide tackle and shit?
No. Which was why I like it better, because I've played on grass in like adult men's leagues, and some guys get pretty like gnarly with the tackles, and I'm like, I'm not trying to get.
Did you ever play Chelsea Piers?
I've never played at Chelsea Piers, but I've heard it gets pretty intense.
When you play on that app, do they like set you at a level and you know like what group is which?
Yeah, so you have like a profile, and then they have like games at the drop, and then you just like sign up for the game you want to go to, which is nice too, because you don't have to like commit to like every Tuesday at 9 I'm free, because obviously with like comedy that's not always like predictable schedule, so you just like can play whenever you want. And but you have a rating at the end of every game. You like rate the other players.
Really?
Yeah, because
like Yelp.
It's kind of crazy. And so there some of it like half of it is like, was this person chill, or were they like kind of an asshole, so that they can hopefully like weed out that kind of behavior. I've never really played with anybody who's been too egregious. People are pretty friendly at it, but then you rate like their skill level, because then there's like advanced games and regular games and beginner games. So like you can only play in the advanced games if you like have a certain rating. So
what's your rating now?
I think
it's better than your Uber rating. Yeah, whip out the phone. Check it out.
Let's see.
Dude, it's crazy. My Uber rating is 4.6. I never even use the app. Dude, every time I'm in an Uber, I'm a nice guy.
Mine's a 4.7, and people make fun of me. And I was like,
what the fuck?
I don't know why, because I always tip nicely. Like I'm just quiet.
There. I'm never with like loud people. Yeah. Or I try not to be. I feel like in the past that's probably been one of my issues. Going home from the club. Yeah. Just being too loud.
Yeah, it's probably my friends fucking up my rating, not me. Let's see if it loads. But this is the app. Yeah, so this is mine. So I have a 4.5 out of 5. So
chill.
So it tells you like how many games you've played, and you have your little profile. It's cool. If anybody in the city plays Street FC, it's very cool. And the people that run it are
never
super
since
nice.
June 2019. But you haven't been in the city since June 2019. Did you play in Savannah with it?
So no, that's when I got the app, because I was like going to move up here, and I was like, oh, I want to play.
Oh shit! And you were checking out the soccer apps.
Checking it out. Checking it out. Yeah.
What's the best part of your neighborhood thus far? And you've lived there for how long? This is your second year on the lease?
Second year in Greenpoint. It's great.
Did you have to re-sign that lease, or?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We have like this we have this our landlord's it's like a very Polish neighborhood, so we have this like
very Polish
old Polish lady, who's like
the G train,
has like owned this building forever, and she doesn't want us going on the roof because it's not like a finished roof.
You're gonna like fall through.
Yeah, I don't know, who knows what's going on up there, but so she is very strict about the roof, like not very strict about most things, but the roof she's like
you go on the roof, Nico, you're getting kicked out of the building.
And she like went as far as to put powder down all over the roof so that if you go up there,
powder, it's like a crime
scene.
She'll
see footprints on it and also be able to track it back to your apartment.
What happens?
It's kind of genius.
What happens when it rains, though?
I don't know. I know she's going back up there and stuff, but like,
does she live in the building?
She doesn't, but she's always around on Sundays, kind of checking out the trash situation, the recycles, seeing what's up.
How many apartments in the building?
7.
A lot of small buildings like that in Greenpoint.
Yeah, it's nice. I really like it. I mean, there's great food in the area. We got great parks. It's like it's a dream. I love it over there.
My sister is in Greenpoint off of maybe I'll have to bleep this out. Street.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Like right in that neighborhood. So I spent some time there. I like it there. And then I think in that neighborhood in Brooklyn, it seems like a lot of people our age-ish, 25 to 35, are moving in. Families over there?
Some young families. I see like babies, but not a ton of like, I mean, some like, like middle school age kids, but it doesn't really seem like, it feels like Park Slope is more like kind of where those like older families are, but it's a lot of like babies. You
see yourself in New York City the rest of your life?
I think so. I've been to LA one time, and I don't think I was really in like the like areas I would want to hang out in. I was mostly in like the Hollywood area, and so
was that when you did Netflix as a joke out there?
Yeah,
nice. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, it was really cool. I was I got to do this. They like did like a new showcase kind of thing for new talent, and so they like had like some auditions out in New York and LA, and I was lucky enough to get to do it. And it's my first time in LA, first time doing anything taped, so that was like very cool. Got to meet some very cool people, and it was a really fun opportunity. So that's when I was out there, but it was in Hollywood, like where we taped the thing, and that's where I stayed. So I think it was kind of like if you come to New York and you stay in Times Square, like you're not really, you might be like, this kind of sucks. And it's like, because Times Square sucks. But, so I'd love to go back and like see it, but I don't know. I'm not really, I love being somewhere walkable. It feels like it's like a community. Like it just seems like LA is like super spread out. I don't know. Doesn't seem like for me.
Did you drive a lot when you were in Savannah?
Yeah,
driving.
Yeah, I like driving. I like to be in the car. And it's nice to be in the like. That's one thing I do miss is like you don't really have a lot of alone time in the city unless you live by yourself. But like, or if your roommate's out. But like, there's even if you're in transport, like you're on the train with 1,000 other people. You're in an Uber with somebody else. Like you don't get to like sit there and like like sing out loud or talk to yourself. Anything that I am used to from like driving around. So I would miss that part of it. That part would be nice.
Going forward in New York, you have things that you're looking forward to? Maybe end of the summer, things coming up, traveling wise.
I'm looking forward to. I love the summer in New York. I think it always has like a great like energy. I'm looking forward to this month for Pride Month. It'll be a lot of fun. There's always like fun parties and things going on. It'll be a great time. You show all the good stuff.
Yeah.
So summer's always super fun. I love like August when it's like kind of like winding into the fall and like things are slowing down a little bit again. I hate the cold, so I'm happy to be in like in the sweet spot of it. Like even if it's like sweaty, I'd so prefer it. When it's like 4:00 and it's cold and it's dark, I can't. I shut down.
Have you found a nice community of friends here?
Yeah, I've been very lucky. Like I just started doing. All my friends are like people I know through comedy and just like folks I've met doing open mics and. Just like get to see all the time. And we were just a bunch of us were watching this show, this new. Have you seen The Ultimatum on Netflix?
I keep seeing it. What is it?
So it's a show where they have a bunch of couples who one party has given the other an ultimatum: we get married or we're done. So healthy, good start. Good start for reality TV.
They should be done.
Yeah, no, exactly, of course. So they bring them all into this game, and they're this like game show, and they go around and like date the other people that are also on the show, and then they like pick a new partner to live with for like 3 weeks to see and do like a trial marriage.
This isn't with Nick and Vanessa Lachey, right?
So there is one with Nick and Vanessa Lachey, but there's a queer version that we've been watching, which is with all lesbian couples, and it is amazing.
So there's a lot of drama, more drama.
A lot of drama. Well, the one other thing, it's like they have more pairing options because they'll date. When they have like hetero couples on, it's like, well, then all the women are dating all the other men and all the men are dating the other women. But with the lesbian couples, they're all dating each other. Like there's no limit to the amount of pairings they could do. So like that's kind of adding some drama and some spice. People wanting the same person and all that good stuff. So anyway, bunch of friends and I were just watching that the other night. It's some of the best reality TV that there is right now.
What other reality shows do you like?
I love the Kardashians.
Sure.
I think they're doing
I had a moment.
Incredible work.
You still think they're doing well? You don't think they're falling off?
I think that they are doing something completely new with the new Kardashian show. Like I never really watched Keeping Up, but Keeping Up, the like original one they had a lot more of like the kind of like Jersey Shore, like,
well, as opposed
fighting.
to what? The one on Hulu now?
The one on Hulu now.
It's different?
I think it's produced by them. So they're like, it's kind of like, it's basically Kardashian propaganda, and I'm eating it up.
Is it just like a Kardashian vlog?
Kind of. And it's super,
they have all control.
Yeah, it's super highly produced. I think they like are really they're doing a good job of painting themselves exactly how they want to, which is cool to see.
Yeah.
And I think Kim Kardashian is just like the best at being famous. And it's cool to watch somebody be the best at anything, and like seeing a little bit behind the scenes of like how much she works and like all the things. Like she's, compared to the rest of them, she's always plotting and always trying to like get, I don't know. I just think it's cool to see that and like be like, okay, she's this big because she's working at it. Like she's not just happened to be like beautiful and like, you know, and got all these plastic surgeries and done whatever and married the right guys and whatever. Like she's working. And
seems like she's always a step ahead.
Yeah.
Even if you don't like her.
Yeah. So I enjoy like watching that. I think it's fascinating. So I love Kardashians. I'm trying to think. I watched Farmer Wants a Wife.
No, that sounds ridiculous.
It's crazy. It's on Fox. It's just like a couple city gals coming out to the farmers.
Is it like rich farmers or?
So that's the thing. That's actually an interesting dynamic. Is like some of them are like, you know, rich, like multimillionaire farmers.
Got a big cornfield.
Yeah, a huge farm that like that's all the corn you've ever eaten is from this farm. Like, it's like some are that vibe and some are like kind of more like, you know, if you're coming out to the farm, you got to work the farm, and so that's kind of a dynamic too. Yeah.
What about? Well, you mentioned Jersey Shore. Are you excited for Sammy coming back?
I have never seen Jersey Shore.
Oh my God, that's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah,
I guess on the reality front. That's just like that's a trashy reality show though.
I mean, that's when it was good though. I don't.
Like
part of me doesn't like. I mean, I think
you were a little too young around then when it first came out.
Yeah, probably I missed that a little bit, but I think that there's some good aspects to them, like toning down some of the way that they. I think a lot of people probably got painted in a negative light by producers of like things taken out of context and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
or maybe encouraged to be crazy, and I'm sure they don't
start a fight.
Love how that reflected on them. But I think we've gone a little bit too far in the other direction. Like sometimes I think some reality shows like The Bachelor over the last couple of years has gotten almost too sterile because nobody wants to make a fool of themselves.
I saw, what's his name? Matt. What's the tall black guy's name? Matt?
Fuck, what was his last name? He went to Wake. Yeah, he and Tyler Cameron both went to Wake Forest.
Matt, and he was dating Rachel.
Yeah.
Come on, guys. Who is that? I saw him in the park the other day. I was like, what's up, Matt? And he thought like he knew me. And then like I didn't do the stop and chat. He was about to do the stop and chat. I was like, no, bro. I just know you from that show. You know what I mean?
That's funny. Yeah. But anyway, so I feel like they've all gotten a little bit like sterile. So I'm happy to see some of them got a little bit of that spice back. Like this Ultimatum is very spicy, very sexy. Like I'm like, it's like.
Yeah, Netflix has those
how
shows.
reality TV shows they're supposed to
Love is Blind ever?
Yeah. I watched the first season of that one.
I like some of that.
Yeah, back in quarantine, I watched that. Yeah.
Nice, man. So, Nico, before we get out of here, let us know where we can find you. Again, what you've got coming up that's exciting. And I guess what you're looking most forward to still being a New York citizen.
Yeah. You can follow me on Instagram at Nico Carney, NicoCarney. And I run a monthly show called Boys Club at Club Cumming. If you're in New York City, come check it out.
Who's the actor that's associated with that? Alan
Cumming. It's his club. Yeah. If you know Alan Cumming, that's the name. He owns the club. And then I'm doing a half hour on the 27th, June 27th at Littlefield in Brooklyn. If you want to come see that. Definitely check that out.
Nico! Amazing. Thanks so much for coming on the pod. Good to meet you, dude. Guys, come to the Ted Jones Comedy Show this Thursday. Check the link in this YouTube video. Come see Nico. Come see your boy, Ted Jones. And we'll see you next time. Thanks so much, guys. Peace.